With Doubtnut, get instant video solutions to all your maths, physics, chemistry, and biology doubts. Just click the image of the question, crop the question, and get instant video solution. Download Doubtnut app today.
Hello everyone. So the question here is that the deficiency symptoms of an element tend to appear first in young leaves. It indicates that the element is relatively immobile. Which one of the following elemental deficiency would show such symptoms? So the options here are sulfur, magnesium, nitrogen, and potassium. Right? So they are here talking about the deficiency symptoms of an element, that is the symptoms which a plant show. As we are talking about here is about a plant. So the symptoms which are shown by a plant due to the low availability or less availability, less quantity of a certain element, right? So we have some certain essential elements which are important for a plant, and if those elements are not available to the plant in proper amounts, then the plant will show the deficiency symptoms, right? So the deficiency symptoms of an element, they appear first in young leaves. And this condition of the appearance of the deficiency symptoms first in young leaves, so the condition given here is that the deficiency symptoms which are due to an elemental deficiency, the deficiency symptoms, they appear first in young leaves. They appear first in young leaves, right? So the newer growing leaves, in these leaves the deficiency symptoms, they are visible. So what do we see here is that the symptoms are first shown there. This indicates what? This indicates that the element whose deficiency is there, that is relatively immobile. This shows that element is relatively immobile. That means it does not have that much of movement, that much of motility in it, right? So why is this the thing? What we see that the parts of plant that show the symptoms of deficiency, it definitely depends upon the mobility. The deficiency symptoms shown by the plant, they depend upon the mobility of the plant, of the element whose deficiency is seen there, right? So the deficiency symptoms, they appear first in the young leaves and young tissues for the elements, young leaves and young tissues as well. For which elements? For those elements which are relatively immobile, which are less mobile, right? So as for example, for when we talk about the immobile elements, when we talk about the elements which are immobile, what are the examples we have? We have calcium and sulfur, who are one of the essential elements and whose deficiency symptoms are first shown in the younger leaves, and also they are relatively immobile elements, immobile essential elements, right? So because these calcium and sulfur, these are basically what? These are part of the structural component of the cell. These are part of structural component of cell, and that is why they are quite immobile. They are part of structural component, basically we see here the structural component of cell. They are part of the structural component of the cell, right? Now that is why they are not easily released. And what we see when we talk about the deficiency symptoms, if they appear first in older parts, if they appear first in older parts of the plant, like older leaves, older tissues, then what we see? Then definitely the element is mobile. Element is mobile, right? So, what do we see? Why is this so? Because if the element is mobile and it is an essential element, then if there is the deficiency, so the plant, in order to manage, in order to balance, it has a tendency to move the elements in the newer growing parts from the older parts, right? So when there is a deficiency of an element which is mobile, then that element is sent to the newer developing parts of the plant from the older ones. And this is why the deficiency symptoms, they appear first in the older parts of that plant if the element is mobile. And if it is relatively immobile, then vice versa is this, that they appear first in the younger leaves and the younger tissues. Now, when we talk about the examples of these elements, then what are the examples of such elements? They are the nitrogen, potassium and magnesium. So we'll have the symbol here, the nitrogen, the potassium and the magnesium. This is nitrogen, this is potassium and this is magnesium. So here we have the nitrogen, potassium and magnesium. So the essential element whose deficiency is seen first in the younger leaves is the sulfur. So the answer here is sulfur. Thank you.
For class 6 to 12, IIT JEE and NEET level. Trusted by more than 5 crore students. Download Doubtnut app today.